So welcome to What's What with Dilly and Dally. What's up, Dilly?
What's up, Dally? Hello, we are Nicole and Emily, and we are best friends who live on opposite sides of the country. And we're going to talk about some stuff we want to talk about. And we're just going to let you guys in on it. So get your tea and sit back and relax. Our first topic for today, I'm hoping this comes out so it's not like super spoilery. I don't think it will be, but we are going to be talking about Bo Burnham's Inside. If you have not seen Bo Burnham's Inside, if you have not seen the rest of his content, because I will be referencing it, I am personally like a Bo Burnham OG, like back when he was 14 in his bedroom. I literally cried when he did the setup again. It was a whole thing. Anyway, so I will be referencing all of his past shows and all of his past media. So if you do not know this or don't want to hear it, please skip ahead.
Yes. Don't not listen to us. Just skip this.
Just skip ahead. Just skip this part. And then later, Nicole gets to take the hyperfixation station today. And then lastly, we thought we'd talk about some pop culture for once on this podcast. And we're going to go with the Free Britney movement because we got some shit to say about that. And if you don't know about it or what's going on with that, we'll let you know what's up. I have references up on my computer. We'll go through them. Anyway, so stick around because we got some shit to say. Let's go.
So it's funny that because yesterday we both watched it for the first time.
I watched it and lost my mind and sent Nicole 400 TikToks roughly about it. And then she said, "Oh, I haven't seen it yet." And I was like,
"What the fuck is wrong with you? Get on it
now."
And so then she did. I did the thing. And I just like a quick, because I am also like an OG Bo Burnham. Like I've known about him since like day one. It's funny how I was introduced to him though. I was at a music festival, like a very emo pop punk, like punk rock music festival called Bamboozle. And we wanted to go see the band Bayside perform their acoustic set, and we wanted to get a good seat and get in there early because it was in like a tent instead of outside on the stages. And so we went in to see the act that was performing before them to get a good spot. And it just so happened that it was Bo Burnham. And I was like, this is 2009. So it was right after he released his first album, like his first comedy album. And he started playing the songs that are on that album. And I heard for the first time ever any of his material. And I heard the song Love Is, and I fucking lost my goddamn mind. So I immediately downloaded the whole thing. And so Love Is and New Math are like my two,
my top, very good.
My top two favorite. I reference it all the time in my head. Like when I'm thinking about math, like if math ever comes up into the equation, I always think of that one line in the song where he goes, sex is like fractions. It's improper for the larger one to be on top. And I was like, that's the best thing I've ever heard in my whole fucking life. I don't know why. It's so great. But anyway.
I do like that. So one thing I do want to address, since we're going to be talking about Bo Burnham, and that is there is some controversy about Inside, just a little bit, and not from anyone I care about, but I do want to address it simply because Bo Burnham's older catalog, like his stuff when he wrote when he was like 14, 15, there's a lot of it that is very straight white guy edgelord, as we would call it today. But at the time, people who grew up in a more sheltered, place, just like he did growing up, going to church every Sunday, being kind of like in a kind of cult, sorry, Catholicism. But that it kind of like fucks you up a little bit. So you have you want to like, just say some weird, terrible, wild shit so that you're different, so that it's like very like anarchy. It's very going against authority, and it feels good to do that. And so a lot of his earlier stuff was about that. And looking back on it now, a lot of it, because I went back and actually listened to some of his old catalog kind of to see if I could like know all the words, which I do.
Yes.
Every single one of them. But I'm also like, as I'm saying them, going, some of this didn't age super well.
No, it's so bad.
I want to call that out because it's a valid criticism that Bo himself has called out. But
he did the song in Inside Problematic, and I was like, yes.
He literally did the song Problematic, and addresses it in a very satirical, there's so many layers, a thought with another thought's hat on kind of way. But he absolutely addresses it in this, in the special. So if that is your criticism of Bo Burnham, that he wrote some offensive shit when he was 15, I should also be canceled because I wrote some weird offensive shit when I was also 15. And none of it was coming from the same place as where he was, because my shit was just whole ass offensive because I grew up in a very like a toxic area. So that's all I was surrounded with. He at least was trying to like do something. And then kind of when he realized the territory he was in and what the effect his music was having, he realized it was a lot bigger an effect than he realized or wanted, and immediately pulled it back. And I do respect that. And he changed course the way he was doing stuff and made it more cerebral, less edgelord behavior. And I think that's absolutely where he needed to go with it. It's where he wanted to go with it artistically. But I wanted to call that out first thing.
Well, it's fair.
He has some older offensive songs, but he also agrees that, yes, they were older and offensive. And like, he's problematic. That's something that he is. And people do like to hold him up like he is Jesus Christ. And he is problematic. And he has done some like fucked up shit. And he talks about it and he learns from it. And if someone says something, someone is like, hey, that's offensive, he's like, okay. And like actually takes the note. And that's the difference.
Yeah. I did the same thing. Like I started listening after we watched Inside. I was like, God, I remember like my favorite song, Love Is. And within that song, there are so many things that he says that are just like, if he was to put that out now, he would immediately be canceled. Like, just because it's kind of messed up. But then at the same time, like for the time that it was written, you have to remember this was like over a decade ago. It was pretty, the way he went about his comedy with the singing and the way that he structured his words and just how he was so smart and very insightful in like, but he also said some problematic things. And I love that he did address that. But I still find it very smart and very genius the way that he did it, even back then when he was so young. Like, I just could, that first line in Love Is, I love you like kings love queens, like a gay geneticist loves designer jeans. Like, and then I like for over a decade now, I've like thought about that one part of the song where he says like, I want you like Anne Frank wanted nobody to read her fucking diary. Like, listen,
no, but that's a hot fucking take, and I will get behind that one. Anne Frank did not intend anyone to read her fucking diary.
Like a diary, the way he says it, he says a diary is a collection of secret thoughts that no one's supposed to read. That's the whole point of a fucking diary. Millions of people have breached this little girl's privacy after she was chased by Nazis. Kick her while she's down.
Like, okay, and I honestly like jokes like that. I want to talk about jokes like that because that's literally okay. The only it seems like there should not even exist one, but if there is a proper Anne Frank joke, that's it.
Yeah,
because it's absolutely true. It's not punching down. The joke is not Anne Frank. The joke is us.
Yeah.
For reading her fucking diary and like acting like that was totally normal and looking, and it's like it's calling us out and looking back on it and being like, oh shit, that was fucked up. We should not have done that. Like we are the joke. And that's 90% of his humor is that you're the joke. We're the joke. And if you, when you're watching it, if you get like, and I'm talking about his newer specials. I'm talking about What, Make Happy, and Inside. If you are watching those and you're feeling attacked and you get immediately defensive, you need to listen to that song. There's a reason.
Like I love that.
Yeah. And that, I think that's important, but like specifically jokes like that. And yes, he does have other problematic shit that even like, wasn't a great joke. Stuff that is that specific kind of joke is like the crux of what he does. He jokes about things that should not be joked about, but punches down or punches up always. That is the main, like that is the goal. And like, and that should be the goal of all comedy. I feel like when it comes to like all comedy, if you are making a joke about somebody and the joke is the victim of the situation, you done did it wrong. You did it wrong. Like, back up. There's a way to do it. And I will agree. And I point at Bo Burnham as a reason, like, yeah, you can joke about some stuff that you shouldn't joke about, but you have to do it like that. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. I don't mean to monopolize this conversation of feelings. But intention specifically. So everything that is done and inside is intentional. Every single fucking frame, where even the ones where he freaks out, they look very like authentic, and they actually may be authentic, but the whole point is for you to question that. And he actually in his earlier specials, specifically, man, I want to say it's What. It is What. And he knocks over a water bottle, and he's like, oh, sorry. And he puts it back up, and it's like, he meant to knock the water over. Yeah. And it's like, art is a lie. Nothing is real. And then he does something else, and then the track plays again. And then he's like, oh man, stop, cut it out. You're supposed to stop. Sorry guys. Ha ha ha. And then it's like, he meant to play the water track. Again. He meant to play the water track. Art is a lie. Nothing's still real. That kind of shit. That's the whole point. Him knocking a bottle of water over on stage is intentional. That's back years ago. So the amount he's grown between watching What, Make Happy, and Inside has been the growth. Every one of these is a fucking art piece. It is a fucking masterpiece, an art installation. It is not, the people are like, it's not a comedy special. I'm like, honestly, like, not really. It's comedic. But honestly, if I had to describe it as anything, I would call it an art installation.
Oh, it was 100% performance art.
The lighting, performance art. The lighting itself.
Everything about I think what I found the most awesome about the whole thing is that he shot it himself. He edited it himself. Mm-hmm. He wrote everything. Like, that is all coming from him. Yeah. Over a year's worth of work that he put into that, writing the songs, staging the lighting, doing all the different camera things, like editing it. We both know that that's hard because we see what Nova has to do with our shit.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
And the end result of all of that work was nothing short of just fucking perfection. It was specifically one of my favorite bits, to where like I kept thinking while I was watching it and laughing my ass off, was, God, that must have taken a lot of work to do, was white woman Instagram.
Yes. Okay. Let's actually talk about white women Instagram. I would love to talk about white women Instagram.
I felt so called out in like the funniest fucking ways possible.
And that's the entire point. So, okay, white woman Instagram. So this is actually one of the controversial songs from Inside. And I wanted to talk about it anyway.
What is the problem with this? Oh,
I will tell you what's going on.
Okay.
The question is white woman Instagram misogynistic? So here's the argument. I'm going to present the argument.
Okay.
And then I will address the point. The argument is that making a song making fun of white women is misogynistic in that it's making fun of women for liking things, which is absolutely a fair criticism of how women are treated in society. Like, we are mocked for just liking things, like pumpkin spice lattes. They're good. Like, fuck you. Like, why do you care? I don't drink them personally, but I've had one and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. It tastes good. Why do you care? Like fuzzy boots, like anything that having an Instagram, like makeup, anything that women are into is immediately infantilized and made to seem stupid. And like, it doesn't take a lot of work. It's just like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's not worth anything.
Yeah.
It's worthless. It's a completely worthless trait or like waste of your time to be interested in these things. So when you make fun of women who are into these things, like they think that this falls into that category of making fun of women for liking things, and that it's making the joke. They think that the butt of the joke of the song is like white women. And I would like to absolutely destroy that idea right now, because first of all, again, let me say, if you are made uncomfortable by anything, sit with those feelings, figure out why you're uncomfortable, maybe address that.
Yeah.
And that's a different thing that you need to do by yourself, maybe with a therapist, figure out why that made you uncomfy.
Yeah.
Because it's fine to be uncomfortable, but it's not fine to react with anger and be just like upset about it. But the idea of him making this song, the amount of work, I want you to look at those pictures that he took. The amount of absolute work that went into every single one of those pictures.
He was doing all of it by himself.
I can guarantee you that took the most fucking time of anything he did.
The
like,
thing with
the
flowers on his face and they were all around.
And he had to do that. He had to, and then the amount of fucking work. And the joke is not, ha ha ha, white women. The joke is women are so fucking like pushed out of society that we have taken Instagram and made it heaven. We've made it a safe space. There's we post these fluffy pictures to make ourselves feel better. This is a place we go to feel happy. He's scrolling through it. He's saying, is this heaven or is this a white woman's Instagram? And while at first it's jokey, he gets to the part where he talks about
the mom thing,
the mom post.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, because then it's like, hey, this is all really funny. It's so funny. White women are so funny. Women are so stupid. Anyway, she's a fucking person.
Yeah. Like it humanized it.
Yes. It immediately humanized it right in the middle and made who was the joke there?
People because
we thought the joke was white women. And he gets to that part and you realize, oh, I'm the joke.
It's the people that make
his fucking comedy.
Yeah, when he was doing that, at first he was like, it made it seem like that's what he was doing. Mm-hmm. He was making fun of white women. And then all of a sudden it switches gears like out of nowhere and it turns it into, no, I'm actually making fun of the people who make fun of the women for doing that.
Yes. Look how much fucking, and then he shows all the pictures at the end. Like, look at all the fucking effort I went through to get these pictures, which that's what we all want in the end. The whole point of the special is about being a content creator, like making content, like for people. Like that's like from his perspective, all of the songs are from that. Like I am trying to make this content for you. And so he goes through all of this work to get all of these pictures done. And they're beautiful and they're wonderful.
They're so
and
good.
Still seen as the silliest part of his special.
Nah, the silliest part to me was
I don't mean it.
No, I know what you mean.
But like it's seen as silly, and some people are literally calling it misogynistic, completely missing the entire point of it. And if you're calling it that, I really advise you to take another listen, take another look, watch the whole special, because I guarantee you the whole time there is no punching down. And I want for real, I want you to,
except against Jeff Bezos.
That is not punching down. That's punching up. That is the definition of punching up. That's true.
Actually, that's fair.
Definition of punching up. He makes fun of Jeff Bezos. Warren Buffett's in there. Fucking
Bill Gates, Buffett. Yeah. And then he says like, fuck their wives, drink their blood. And then he just screams.
And what was so funny is that as he's getting to that point, he says, fuck their wives, drink their blood. My brain went, ah! And then he started screaming. And I was like, ah!
I don't think we've ever. I haven't laughed that hard at something on a comedy special since watching Douglas with Hannah Gadsby, because there was this one part in her special that got us. We just laughed so hard, and then we were watching it inside, and the Jeff Bezos thing came up, and Nova and I we had to pause it because the next part was him like talking, and it was important, and I didn't want to miss it.
That's all of it.
But I was like,
smash cut.
I had to stop. I had to pause it because we were laughing so hard at the Jeff Bezos, like that first Jeff Bezos song, because he does another one later where he's like, Jeff Bezos.
Yes.
Way to go. Congratulations.
I honestly want to be in the room. There's no way Jeff Bezos has not seen this. I want to be in the room when he saw it the first time. Someone has video. I need it. I will pay whatever you want.
I think so. I just find it, first of all, I think if you are one of those people that is finding that specific segment misogynistic, like you just said, like, I think you need to re-examine because if that's the first thing that came to your head, then I think that you need to figure out why that you're so triggered that way. Like there's something else going on that has nothing to do with this that you're. And
we don't use trigger in a shitty way, by the way. Like I used it this morning in not like a joking way. We don't like, I'm serious. Like I'm serious about this whole special. If you're watching the whole special and you get to a point where you feel, and I say this not as a joke, actually triggered, like, and the definition of that word, something has happened that has set off something else inside of you. That's all I mean by that. If something has triggered something inside of you, it doesn't mean to be like, you're triggered. Like, I don't mean that. I mean, like, something has triggered in your brain. It actually
is triggered something. Yeah. And you
maybe
should have
that feeling for a minute. Yeah. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to have something trigger something for you. You just take that and you sit with that. Why did that make me uncomfortable?
Yeah. Exactly. Which is, so like there are parts of inside that definitely made me feel some type of way. And I think that's what I liked the most about it is that, and the same thing goes for other specials, like with like Hannah Gadsby again, for example, like her special, Nanette.
Yes. God.
And then
Nanette.
she mentions it in Douglas because she got a lot of shit from a lot of white men, hashtag not all men. I love when she says that, where she said, that's not comedy. And she's like, if you took away from that this was supposed to be comedy, you're missing the whole fucking point, which is, and Inside brings that whole thing up again. Like if you went into this and you took away from that, like you're angry because it wasn't funny enough for you, or it wasn't, then babe, that the special's not the problem.
No, you missed the entire fucking point. Like you absolutely, it came right at your face and you ducked. Like it feels like you intentionally ducked that message, because like this specifically Inside talking about creators feeling burnt out, because really, if you think about it, when we hit the pandemic, we all went inside and we relied solely on creators for this whole past year. So if you're wondering why this is blowing up, that's why TikTok took off so much, because what the fuck else have we been doing?
Yeah.
So like we can only play so much Animal Crossing. Okay. Like eventually we have to do something else. And so we relied on creators. I personally relied on the entire team of Hermitcraft to keep me fucking sane this whole time. If I didn't have mumbo jumbo videos to watch, shout out, I'd die for real. Like we turned all of what I just said, if I did not have Mumbo Jumbo's videos, I'd die. We projected all of that onto creators to the point where they are fucking tired and they are burnt the fuck out. That's why some of this stuff, it felt like really, really close to home. And that's why I went really heavy on TikTok and other creative zones, because that's how a lot of people feel. Like people are at this point demanding content from people they have no right to demand anything from. And people like Bo Burnham, who knows that, oh my God, talk about somebody who has someone just demanding content from them constantly. Like he disappeared. Like I do want to talk about his past. Yeah. He talks about it in the special. He disappeared for 5 years. Before that, he also disappeared for a very long time. Coming back and doing what was like, holy shit. Where the fuck have you been, my guy? Are you okay? And then he did what? And I was like, he's not okay. But it was very good.
Yeah.
And then Make Happy, which was just so many chef's kisses. I could talk about I could do a whole segment. I'll do a hyperfixation station on Make Happy because I really could. The imagery, just the art.
No, I agree. Yeah, that's what he is. That he's a performance artist.
And so he gets to he does Make Happy, and he talks about an inside that he was having like panic attacks
on stage.
And if you've ever had a panic attack, I have personally had a panic attack on stage. It was not as
he even says it
as what he's doing, because I was a crowd of like 12. He has a crowd of like 1,200.
He even says that he's like, I was having panic attacks on stage, where that's the best place to have a panic attack.
Yes.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like, that sucks. And so he decided, I'm going to take a step back. I'm not going to do this. And then he worked on himself for a long time. And people, again, every time he leaves, he basically just like dips. He doesn't post on social media unless it's specifically, he'll post about like social causes. He posted during the Black Lives Matter protests about where he was like, if any other rich assholes like me have money, donate here. This is what I'm doing. Like, so he has been like that. But as far as content, he doesn't like have a TikTok. He doesn't just post videos about him singing or anything. He does not. He just doesn't. And he disappeared for years. This was very much an Avatar situation. Like, the world needed him most. And that's the problem, is that the world needed him most. That's the thing that he struggles with the most, is that he hates being that.
Yeah.
But he feels like he has to be that. And so that has been a theme in a lot of his content going really far back. It's always been a theme of like, I am not your fucking God. And like, knowing that he felt so upset and stressed out about a lot of stuff, going back to, I want to say it was where someone screams, take your pants off, while he's performing. And he's like, and he backs up and he's like, and everyone laughs. And he's like, oh, it's funny because it's like, oh, and he makes it, it's funny because I'm a guy. Like, is what he says, like, that's funny because I'm a guy. And then a guy from the audience yells, take him off or something. And everyone laughs. And it's like, oh, it's funny because he's a guy. Because homophobia isn't God's way. And then he continues with what he was doing. And like, I get how being on stage like that and having people just scream stuff like that at you, like they are entitled to you, is incredibly invasive and feels very much like the very end of Inside. And can we talk about that for just 1 second? Because it wrecked my whole shit.
Yeah.
So he sings about it the whole time. He talks about like,
put your fucking hands up.
Yeah. He has all of these lines in the very beginning about like, okay, I'm going to stay inside. I'm not going to go out. I'm going to stay inside. And look who's inside again. I promise not to go out. Like, and then it gets to the end and the door's cracked and he's been inside and he doesn't even want to try the door. And he finally does. And once he does and leaves the house, and then he can't get back in again.
And it has the audience laughing noise. I was like,
God. And they're laughing as he tries to get in and
fails.
And fails and can't get back inside, which is very much a metaphor for him trying to like, here, I'm going to dip my toe out here again. And everyone lost their shit. And he's like, now he can't, he's stuck.
Yeah.
Outside.
That was powerful.
Which was so powerful. And then the camera flips and it's him watching it. And he looks sad and like he's pained watching this happen. And then it hits the end of it. And he like a small smile, because one of those, it feels very like you gotta laugh or you're going to cry.
He just had a smirk. Like it was just like a small little smirk. That was just like, okay. And then I think what was really beautiful to end the piece with was having the mental health suicide hotline type reaching out thing afterwards. I think that was pretty fucking, because I think he, even before he made this, I think that was a decision that he was going to do, because he knew that this was going to be extremely cerebral.
Yes.
And even himself, he knew himself well enough that he wasn't going to keep his own mental health issues out of his art. So this is something that he inherently needed himself. And he was like, I'm going to put this out there because I know my audience is going to need it too.
Yeah.
Like, God, he's a fucking genius. He's
I know,
always
but like,
been.
again, every time anyone says that shit to him, he's always like, please, he doesn't like it.
I know.
Like, he would hate us talking about this.
I know.
And that's like, I get it. Like, he has a song. Oh God, which one was it? Shit.
In Inside? Or
yes. Where he's talking about like, oh no, don't want to know. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. So he has this, it's like, how are you feeling? Do you like the show? Are you tired of it? Never mind. I don't want to know. Like it's literally, and at the very end, he's even like, it feels very desperate. Like, is there anyone out there? Am I all alone? It wouldn't make a difference. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Very like, don't tell me. Like, he's like, I'm putting this out there. I don't want to hear what you think about it. This wasn't for that. And that's fucking valid. Like, I feel like that's absolutely, like, that's the big struggle. It's the struggle in all of his stuff. And specifically, something that I want to call out very importantly is the lighting. Can I talk about the lighting? Not just in Inside, but like in all of his shows, particularly Make Happy. Woof. But being able to going from Make Happy, seeing that lighting, that dynamic lighting up his face in different directions, playing with shadows, playing with colors, and him turning around and doing that same shit in his fucking house by himself.
Yeah.
That
with the strobe light, with the disco ball, and then
and then he shows later where he had to stop he had to stop the scene, stand up, spin it, sit back down, sing the bit, and then flip his head up to make it happen. And I was like, yeah, that is how that works. But like, it's so good.
And the whole, like, the thing with like the different, the color changing light with like the little starlight speckled lights that he would turn that off and have the colored lights. And then he'd turn the whole thing back on when it crescendoed, like just everything that he did with down from the lyrics to the actual music itself to the lighting and the camera direction and that part where he goes and it goes to like lay down in the bed and he puts his head on the pillow and you see it from far away at first. And then it does that close-up shot. I'm like, this is really, it's super, I understand, like, it's so invasive what he did to himself.
Yeah. There are a lot of comedians who were like really nervous about him because legitimately, like, but comedians like Bo Burnham don't come around like super often, but they do exist. They have existed in the past. People who make jokes in a similar vein. The problem is they generally die young.
Yep.
And that is the thing that I think that we're all contending with, is watching this special and realizing, yes, we're all in the same boat. Yes, obviously, like all of this realization at the same time. But there's a lot of comedians who are like, no, for real, Bo Burnham is not okay, y'all. Like, y'all for real need to think his fan base needs to lay the fuck off of him because he's losing it. And I think that's valid. I feel like that's a valid critique because honestly, we really don't. Comedians do. This happens a lot. Robin Williams, people who seem happy and go lucky, obviously like have issues themselves. And then not to mention someone who's not even fucking like, this isn't even like I'm trying to hide it. He literally multiple times talks about self-harm. That's why it's literally in the warnings when you watch the special. That's why when people are like, it wasn't a comedy special, I'm like, it has warnings for self-harm.
Yeah.
And it also has the suicide hotline at the end. So I don't know what the fuck you expected from this, but it shouldn't have been comedy. No. There's literally the whole joke of it is, should you be joking at a time like this?
Yeah. Like that was the first opening thing is like, should I even be joking at a time like this? Like that's the whole.
Yeah, and then he gets to the end and he's like,
should that mark, I don't know what to tell you.
This?
Like, if you missed the mark, I don't know what to tell you. I can't.
Again, like going back to who's the joke, even at the very beginning, he talks about like, I shouldn't be joking in a time like this or whatever. And then it gets to the end and he says like, if you're in a fire, call me and I'll tell you a joke. at the very end, he's like, if I'm in a fire, I'll call you and you can tell me a joke. And then he's like, wow, are you really joking at a time like this? And I think that is absolutely fantastic. It gets to the end and again, just turns it right back to the audience member. Like the fourth wall between Bo and the audience has always been very thin. And in this one, it was essentially non-existent.
I love that he even mentioned Deadpool. I even like that he mentioned Deadpool in one of the songs, because that's very much like the kind of thing that Bo Burnham does is like Deadpool. He does break the fourth wall and like it is very much a play off of us. Like we are always like the butt of the joke, actually.
Yes.
Like, and it's great.
Like it's literally always that. And I think it's always the listener. And I think that's kind of the fucking point, because it's also him. Yeah. Like he's the joke, as is the listener. We're all the fucking joke.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's never like a targeted, like at someone who does not have immense power. Yeah. Like it is never like, let's make a joke about like the gay people, about how stupid they are. Yeah. Maybe don't. Maybe don't. Maybe reconsider. But like, take that kind of joke and turn it and make it not that kind of joke where they're not the butt of the joke. That's literally his whole thing, is taking that and spinning it. Before we do have to wrap up here soon, but before I do, I want to ask you. I want us both to say our favorite parts, like the part that gave you like the chill bumps. What part gave you the good chill bump feels? Because I have mine. If you need
I don't know about good chill bump feels.
It doesn't have to be good chill bump feels. What part gave you the chill bump feels that you were like, oh God, this is good. This is so good.
I mean,
that kind of thing.
The part where I forget exactly what he was saying, but he was holding a knife the entire time that he was saying it. And I was listening to what he was saying. I can't recall it now, but while I was watching, because we both know we have bad memories. Yeah. But like while I was watching it, it was hard to concentrate on what he was saying, because I kept thinking in my head, why is he holding a knife like that? What's going to happen? I was like very nervous. Like, yes. Is this like, what is happening? That was like the part for the one part, and there are other parts of that. I mean, the whole entire fucking thing just got me in my feels, but like that part specifically, I keep thinking about, because I was like, what is happening?
So obviously this could be something else. And a lot of the point of this special in particular is that you can interpret a lot of things a different way, depending on where you're coming from, or it's different for everybody. So this is by no means like the real reason. But I personally, the way I took that was as a commentary on the way that it can be people, but I took it as, because a lot of it's very like anti-capitalist. I took it as very like, oh, we're going to say something nice to your face, and you have to hear us and agree with us because we're being super nice. Like, what are you talking about? But it's like, hey, you're holding a fucking knife. What the fuck? Yeah. And it's like, what are you talking about? I'm being nice. But because his face was super happy, and the things that he was saying it in such a polite way. But the whole fucking time he's holding that knife, and I was like, it was making me nervous. Yeah. And I think that was kind of to make us feel very similarly to how generally like a marginalized people feel, because how I feel when I am talking to random dude who has come up to me and started talking to me, and he's being very pleasant, very nice.
But whole time you're thinking like, is he going to murder me?
Yeah. I can't concentrate on what he's saying because he has a knife. Is what my metaphorical knife. So I can't even look like, you're being nice, but, and like, that's what it made me feel like. So that made me feel like it was like a commentary on like how people of color can also feel when they're talking to any white person, because they could turn around and hate crime them at any fucking second. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, you kind of have to approach a lot of people with a grain of salt, like distance. And it's like, why am I being so nice to you? And it's
Yeah,
like,
that
but
one,
you have a knife.
that part got me a lot. I think the bit, God, every bit was funny, but one of my favorites that we haven't mentioned yet that I found absolutely fucking hilarious was the streamer thing, that where it looked like he was a Twitch streamer.
Yes. Oh my fucking God. He kept being like, thanks for the 4 months.
For the 4 months.
And I'm sitting at this chair and everything. I was like, oh my God.
I was laughing so hard because it just me as a streamer.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so what this feels like. Like, it just feels so.
And he's like stream of conscious thing. It was so intimate that when it ended, I was very confused. That's how I felt with every bit though. The transitions were glorious, whether it was a smash cut, so you were confused out of what the fuck just happened, or whether it was a very slow fade that made you confused about what you were seeing for a minute until it faded. And then you were like, oh shit. Like it went from the wind fading from looking out the window to him back inside was, again, obviously like jail bars. Very good. It was all very artistic and very fantastic. But moving on to my favorite part, the part that gave me the butterflies. It has to, absolutely hands down. I loved the whole special, do not get me wrong. But when I was sitting there and it was the name, let me make sure I say the name, because I always say the name of the song wrong because I just watched it yesterday and I didn't want like any spoilers. Sorry, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
The very specific part where it gets close up on his face, it's blue, and he says something, and it's the first time he says "all eyes on me," and he just like looks directly at the camera. My whole body, my soul just like left. I was like, like he was looking directly into my brain. I was like, oh my God. And then he was just like, and then he kept going, and it's supposed to be like, it felt very haunting.
Yeah.
And it gave me similar vibes to actually the end of Make Happy, which is the whole thing where he stands up and he's like, can I say my shit, New York? And because he pretends to be Kanye. And that's the joke.
Which he also did in that song, because he was like, put your fucking hands up.
Again, very similar vibe.
For me.
Pray for me, put your hands up, but pray for me, put your head down, but hands up. It was so good. Just all of it. Very good. But like, again, very similar energy to the end of Make Happy. And that, again, that was my favorite song for Make Happy, because when he gets down and starts mixing his own voice as he's singing, holy fucking shit, dude. Because that was different every time he did it. That was him just like fucking around. Like he generally probably sounded similar, but he played with it. That was just him live, fucking with his voice at the very end of it. And he literally gets like, again, no idea why anyone's confused about the content of this special, because he at some point is down there and he's like, can I be real? He says, the truth is my biggest problem's you. I want to please you, but I want to stay true to myself. I want to give you the night out that you deserve, but I want to say what I think and not care what you think about it. A part of me loves you. A part of me hates you. A part of me needs you. A part of me fears you. And I don't think that I can handle this right now. And that's when he starts to like repeat that very rhythmically. I don't think that I can handle this. I don't think that I can handle this. Look at them. They're just staring at me like, come and watch the skinny kid with a steadily declining mental health and laugh as he attempts to give you what he cannot give himself. And then proceeds to stand up and be like, I don't think that I can handle this. They don't even know the half of this. I'm a pussy. I put on a silly show. I should probably just shut up and do my job. So here I go. And then he goes back to talking about the burrito that he was singing about earlier.
Yeah.
And the fucking art of breaking the fourth wall in the middle, basically being like, I am mentally fucking ill. I cannot take care of myself. I guess I should go back to singing about fucking burritos. Wouldn't have made the letters if I knew it wouldn't fit. So like the fact that inside is happening, there are people who are like, oh, wow, like I wouldn't, this isn't like the previous. Yes, it is like the previous specials. Yes, it is. It is just more of that part, the part that he used to interweave. So he'd make the joke and he'd make you uncomfortable, and then he'd make a joke. He'd make you uncomfortable, make a joke. This was more, I'm going to make you uncomfortable, and I'm going to make you uncomfortable, and I'm going to make you uncomfortable. Sit here with me for a minute. Like we've all been sitting in our rooms for a fucking year. Sit in this with me for a minute. And I think that that's valid and fair, that we should do that. And it's important for us to watch this fucking special. Like it seems so silly talking about this fucking special like it's a life-changing experience, and I'm not saying that it's life-changing, but I am saying that it is cathartic as fuck to see someone, like I said, him singing about Jeffrey Bezos. I felt like I wanted to scream, and he screamed. Like that's what it is. It's having all of your inside thoughts on the outside. And
that whole thing, that whole part was with Sacco and the shit that Sacco was saying. I was like, God damn, okay. Like, whoa, I love it.
And then the commentary with I'm just trying to learn. And like, and then he starts getting mad at him. It's like, and then he starts being like, hey, remember whose hand you're on. Like that, again, it was uncomfortable, but so viscerally real.
Yeah.
About a commentary about people who are marginalized, who try to tell their oppressors how they're oppressing them. The oppressor is like, well, ha, 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 I'm just here to learn. And when you're trying to actually educate them, it immediately turns to remember whose hand you're on.
Yeah.
And it's so fast. It seems like they're on the same side. And I think it was a take on like leftists and neo-leftists, people who are who are centrists, essentially, who are trying to pretend like they're Democrats. And so like, I just want to know, I think, well, you could fucking Google it, but instead you're continuing to uphold the oppression of others instead of actually just doing the hard work yourself. And I think that was a very good commentary, but also made me viscerally uncomfortable when he did the whole look at me.
Yeah. I was like,
say yes, and yes, what?
Oh,
my heart stopped, dude. Hated it. I think that was one of the things that made me uncomfortable. And you know what I did? I sat with that shit for a minute and was like, why did that make me so uncomfortable?
And you figure it out and you're like, fuck me.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, it's because like I can sometimes be like that. And also it's true. Like, we do contribute to it, and like recognizing that even like when you're trying to do your best, you're just trying to know, like you still don't have like a right to someone else's time, even if you wish that they would, so that you could be a better person. Like you're centering yourself in that still.
I think the one last thing that I want to mention that I love, I know we don't have to go into it, but I want to recognize it because I think it was hilarious, was not only the intern song, but what he did after the intern song with the commentate, like the reacting to it, then the reacting to the reacting, then the reacting to it. I was just like, the song itself was fucking hilarious because it's goddamn true. And then just the part that he afterwards, that's pure art. That's all there is to it. Yeah. It was just fucking art.
Yeah. And also, sorry, I know, but like last thing, I promise, because it's the credits. I want to talk about the credits real quick.
Yeah, the credits.
Because the credits have the song Any Day Now.
Yeah.
And it's literally just him saying, any day now, it'll be over. Any day now. And at first it's funny because it's like, oh, haha, the credits. Any day now, it'll be over. The special will be over. And then it starts again to be haunting. Yeah. Almost every fucking thing he does starts fun and gets haunting. And I think it's like, yay, Echo. And it's like, I think that's just very evocative of everything that we've been through. Like just in a lot of ways, but specifically to have it do that at the very end as the commentary on the pandemic, like any day it'll be over, any day. It just keeps saying it. There's no other lyrics to this song. It just keeps saying it until it stops.
Yep.
And that in itself, fucking haunting. Thank you, Bo Burnham. Anyway, I want to end this with saying thank you to Bo Burnham.
if you ever listen to this, we understand that you don't like praise. We understand why.
I apologize for everything we said.
Yeah. But just maybe it might make you feel better to know that there are people that understand that. So yeah, Bo Burnham, if you ever hear this, we love you, but we don't love you. I don't know what to say.
Don't love you. We love the idea of you.
We love the idea of you.
Anyway, but thank you for taking all of this time to do that. I hope you're okay. I hope you're happy.
And if you want to call us, we can tell you a joke.
Yes, we will always tell you a joke. We should absolutely put the Suicide Prevention Hotline in the fucking description. Heads up, we're going to do that. Yeah. If anyone's not feeling super hot, especially if you watch that. Oh, God.
I was actually
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was going to mention that in my hyperfixation station.
Yes. Okay. So we'll talk about it again. But like for real, if you want to watch Bo Burnham, especially Inside, please do so. It's fantastic. It's amazing. If you feel some type of way after watching it, which is fair and valid, I hope you find someone to talk to. And if you need someone to talk to, we will put the number for the Suicide Prevention Hotline in the bio of this episode, because it is very important. Specifically, there is a very intense scene where he gives advice about suicide, about not killing yourself at the very beginning of the pandemic, because you can tell because his beard is short, his hair is short, and then he overplays it of a video of him just staring off in the distance later in the pandemic with his long hair, long beard. He's clearly like been through some shit. So he's listening to his own words, telling himself not to kill himself. It is very intense and as lovely and artistic and wonderful as it is. If it makes you feel some type of way, please reach out.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, so everyone wipe your tears up a little bit. We're going to head off. Choo-choo. It's time to pull into the hyperfixation station. This time with your conductor, Nicole. Take us away.
Okay, so I feel like the reason I picked this, because I had a few you both of us know we have a whole lot of shit going on in our head all at once.
Hyperfixations.
We have lots of hyperfixations, but I felt like this was a good one to pick because both topics that bookend this kind of have to do with people that feel the type of way that I do. Recently, over the last couple of weeks, and I want to preface this by saying I am in therapy and I am going to be okay because I'm doing my due diligence to make sure that I am.
Yeah, Nicole and I are both in therapy. Big proponents, just heads up.
Absolutely.
If we ever say some weird shit, no, we are talking to a professional about it. Don't worry.
We're okay, but we're not okay, but we're making sure we're going to be okay because we're doing the work. Yeah. So over the last couple of weeks, there have been several incidents that have happened to me that have triggered my trauma, which I have lots of triggers, lots of traumas. And what I want to talk about mostly is if you are someone who does not experience mental illness, or which I find that hard to believe. I feel like everyone is, and you should check.
Are you talking about? I didn't know if you were talking about everyone or just our audience base.
No, I meant everyone in general.
If you're listening to this, you're mentally ill for sure.
No, I just meant like everyone in general. I find it hard to believe that you're not going through some type of shit.
Yeah.
And that you shouldn't see, especially after this year. Yeah. But I had an incident with a family member. My mom came to visit me, and my mom herself, the person that my mother is, just existing is a trigger for me because we went through some shit together, and she still to this day does shit that triggers me. And it's hard for me to have a relationship with her when she does shit like this because it triggers me. And then I don't sleep for days, and I, just get into like this anxious ball of a mess. So that's what's been happening over the last like 2 weeks. I would say there have been several instances that have been triggers for me that have kept me up and made me feel sick. And like, my physical body was like breaking down, even though like in my head, I'm screaming like, go to bed, you're tired. Like I couldn't do it because I was everything was on high alert. So we went to my grandma's, who I haven't seen since Christmas of 2019. And so it's been a while. And this is kind of the message that I want this hyperfixation station to go out. If you are someone that does not suffer from a mental illness, or you're not a mental health professional and you know nothing about how to treat people that have mental health disorders, do not think that your opinion of what is going on with me should carry any fucking weight. Do not try to dismiss what I'm going through just because you don't go through it. Do not try to invalidate my existence and what I go through just because you've never gone through it, or that's not. So my grandmother, I don't know how the conversation got to this point, but we were just talking and some shit got brought up. And I was explaining to my grandmother, who I've explained this to before, and she always has the same kind of responses, but I was telling her about my mental illnesses and how I have complex PTSD. There are several things that have happened to me over the course of the almost 35 years I've been alive. I think by the time this episode comes out, I'll be 35, that have caused me to have CPTSD. And any number of things can trigger me. Some of them I know, so I can, kind of lessen the effect of the trauma that I start feeling because I know what triggers me, so I can prepare for it. There are things that I don't know if I'm going to be triggered by. Like they just catch you off guard. They surprise you. So I'm explaining all of this to her and telling her what happens to me when I get triggered and how I feel. And the things that she was saying to me were, you're just playing the victim. You're just not strong enough, because if you were mentally strong enough, you would be able to stop yourself from feeling that way. You would be able to just say, nope, I'm not going to feel this. I'm just going to be happy. She was saying stuff like, I don't have the willpower to not feel like, not get anxious, or to not let these things bother me. Things like at one point I was explaining that part of the reason I feel the way I feel is because my mom, who is a trigger for me, she stayed with abusive men, in relationships with abusive men, whether it was marriages, boyfriends, whatever. And they either abused her and I saw it, or they abused me and she stayed with them anyway and didn't do anything about it. So when I explained that to my grandmother about why mom's issues are a trigger for me and why my mom in general is a trigger for me, she goes, oh, so it's your mother's fault. Which again is like, no one said anything about fault or blame. Like, I'm not placing blame on anyone. I'm simply stating that this person's actions have consequences. And those consequences were that I have come out of those situations with a fucked up state of mind. Like, I never said that it was mom's fault. I'm just telling you that that's what happened to me because of what she did. So I know you're making all these great faces.
The listeners cannot see my face right now, but I'm trying to let Nicole have her time to talk. But like, fuck, my face is like, so holy shit.
Yeah. And this also, it also happened recently with mine and Nova's, we have couples therapy. I think every couple should be in couples therapy, not gonna lie.
Again, same thing with regular therapy. Like, go check on the health of your relationship, just like the same way you go check on the health of your brain and your body. Everyone should be doing that.
So I especially Nova has their own issues with their parents, just like I have my issues with my parents.
As we all do.
Yeah, I mean, we all do. But it recently we had a session with Nova's parents because Nova's parents cause trauma for me. I am triggered by Nova's parents. They're one of my triggers because of that's a whole other.
I was like, do we want to do?
I'm not going to get into it
a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to get into the reasons why. But what I am going to say, the point of this is they were also, just like my grandmother, extremely dismissive of why I feel the way I feel and what happens to me and why, like saying things like, it happened a long time ago. Why can't you just let it go? Oh, so you're blaming me. The whole, where were these people? Why are you just concentrating on us? Like, just the deflecting, the what they were doing was victim blaming. And like it, so I think one of the points of this is that like, I'm running into a lot of people that are not mental health professionals and also don't necessarily suffer from any mental, illness, whatever. I mean, like I said, I think everyone does to an extent, and everyone should be in therapy too. I'm not saying everyone should be on medication or that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that every single person has issues, whether you've been through a trauma or whether, it's just life is its own trigger. And you go through things, like you feel some type of way about things. And if you just talk to someone, that can help you just to keep being a good person and to keep your head on the right track and not lead you astray. Because if you don't check in with yourself mentally, and if you don't talk to a therapist or like a professional person that does deal with these types of things, that can lead to problems. It can lead you down the path of destruction. And it's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people become alcoholics, because they, instead of when problems arose, when you were having difficulties with whatever you were having difficulties with, instead of reaching out and getting help through therapy or just talking to a friend, you turned to self-medication.
And to be entirely fair, there's a lot of other things that go along with alcoholism,
that's just
like including classism and just a whole lot of other things. But
that's just one of the things I think happens.
Just in general, like I think any kind of escapism, whether it's any kind of self-medication, whether it's with alcohol, whether it's with your friend's Xanax, whether it's with weed, because while it's not addictive, it is still a form of self-medication. That a lot of people use for mental health issues that they don't realize are mental health issues. They think that they are just broken.
That's my point.
That's the mentality that we need to get past. Like, you're not broken. You have PTSD. You have ADHD. You're autistic. You're not broken. Your brain's just different. And like, so you just have to do stuff that works with your brain. And it kind of goes in hand with my hyperfixation from last week, which was my ADHD, talking about that. Just finding different ways. But the thing is, you have to have people in your life who are comfortable and okay and supportive of that. And when they're not, it makes it so much fucking harder to just live your life.
Yeah. And that's the message that I want to deliver, is that to people who have mental illnesses and have people in their life that are like this, do not feel any guilt whatsoever getting rid of those people. Because now I'm at the point where it has taken me a long time to figure out that I would be so much better off if I either cut them off completely or just limited my interactions with the people that say these things to me or cause these feelings in me, because it's better that way. It's better for my mental health to not have those people in my life. I don't care if they're family. It's even worse when they're family, because you feel that even deeper. Like, I feel even on a deeper level, I feel really angry at my dad, who I haven't spoken to since November of 2020, which is a long time ago. That was like 8 months ago. I haven't spoken to them since. They haven't reached out, nothing, no, to even, because they're mad at me for feeling some type of way about them. And it's like, I'm better off not having my father in my life and not having to deal with that, the triggers and the hurt that happens when I talk to them and when they just exist, than I am with not,
Yeah. And there's something specific called a trauma bond, which I'm sure you've heard of, but like, it can be with a partner. So like, say you and your partner grew up together and you both went through addiction at the same time. Later, it might be a lot harder to leave them because you feel a trauma bond with them. You went through something traumatic together. And so you feel like in a video game, no man left behind. Like, you feel like you can't leave these people. And same thing with your family, especially if your family either caused trauma or especially trauma that was narcissistic in nature, which made you feel like you needed them in any kind of way.
Yeah.
Or if it's something to do with your family was like exceedingly poor growing up. You could not afford food. You said you had situations where you were sleeping on friends' couches, things like that with your family. That's a trauma bond. So a lot of poor families experience this. They feel like there's a lot of rhetoric of like, you don't leave the family. You always support family. Family is the most important thing. And they say that because it's a trauma bond. It's because it's very common in the South in particular. I grew up in Tennessee and Georgia. I have family still there. But legitimately, it's a trauma bond. You grew up together with this parent. You went through things together. And so when you get to a point where they are like saying hateful shit to you or being just horrible, you still feel like, well,
obligated to keep
my dad, I gotta stay in touch, or that's my cousin, we grew up together. Okay, just because you grew up together and you feel like you owe them something, let me be clear, you do not.
Exactly.
And the phrase blood is thicker than water, finish it, is not the complete phrase. The phrase is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means the blood of the covenant, of the promises that you make to your friends, that you find, the people that you choose to find, is way more important and way stronger than the water of the womb of the family that you came from.
Yeah.
It's thicker, it's stronger, and it makes more sense in this to say it that way anyway. The people that you have personally chosen who fit with you are going to be there for you. They're going to be your people. This idea that your family is your people and you can't leave them, even if you're severely unhappy, is bullshit.
It is bullshit. And that's what I've been dealing with. And it's also dealing with just people in general, even if they're not family members, that getting rid of, like, cutting them out of your life or, whatever you do. It's not like not surrounding yourself with people that are going to tell you shit like what people have been telling me, which is like, oh, just get over it. Oh, why do you care? Like, why do you feel this way? Like, that shouldn't matter to you. Oh, you're just playing the victim. Oh, it's all about you. Or this just like
a lot of projection. From other people, because they have problems they wish they could talk about, but they feel like they would be playing the victim. You can't tell anybody because that means that you're looking for attention. So they project that onto you because you have the fucking audacity to talk about your trauma.
Yeah. And it's something that you posted today or yesterday that I shared that was like, I'm allowed to make this thing that seems little big because it matters to me or whatever. I don't remember the exact wording of it.
Hold on, actually,
I want to remember the exact wording,
nice.
because seeing that today made me feel so good, because that's what's been happening the last couple of weeks, is that it may seem little to you because that it doesn't directly affect you the same way that it affects me, but I'm allowed to make a big deal out of it because it feels big to me.
Yes. I'm allowed to make a big deal out of things that feel big to me. That's the phrase.
And that's what's been happening to me. And it's like sending it out there to anyone listening to this that doesn't have a mental illness.
The three of you.
The message is, do not invalidate other people's feelings just because that's not what you feel, or that's not how you deal with it.
Your experience is not universal.
Yes, because what you're just further harming the person in your life that is experiencing those things, and that they're telling you that that's how they experience it. Let them.
Yeah.
And support them and be there for them. Don't do any sort of denial tactic. Don't do any sort of guilt tactic. Don't do any sort of like victim shaming. Don't do any sort of like invalidation at all. That's a huge fucking problem. And don't be surprised if that person kicks you the fuck out of their life, because they don't deserve that. They deserve to be heard. They deserve to be validated. They deserve to feel the way they feel, because that's just how they fucking feel. Yeah. And to those who have mental illnesses that do feel that way and have people that are doing that in their lives, it's okay to get rid of them. Do not feel any sort of fucking obligation or guilt getting rid of those kinds of people that are going to perpetuate that toxicity, because it is better for your mental health to have them out of your life than it is to continue a relationship out of familial loyalty, or just because they've been friends with you for like 10 plus years, whatever the reason is. You have absolutely no obligation to keep that person in your life regardless. If they are hurting you in any sort of way, they are perpetuating your trauma, they are feeding it, whatever. Don't feel bad about getting rid of them. It's okay to do that. Like, don't feel guilty. And that's what I've been going through. Like, I don't want to be around. I'm going to call her still and just catch up. We can keep the topics real simple, talk about the weather, talk about like whatever, but like, I don't want to be around my grandmother anymore and my uncle, because they live together. My uncle lives with my grandmother, because they perpetuate this toxic energy that isn't just harming me now, it's also harmful to my partner. And that's okay. It's okay to do that. Like it's taken me a while to get to that point, and it's okay for you to take as much time as you need to get to that point. But my entire hyperfixation station, the message is that it's okay to do so whenever you're ready. And if you are doing that to someone, fucking stop.
Absolutely. 100%.
Full stop, period. Just get the fuck over yourself. Get some help. See a therapist.
Yes. No, I think that's that's absolutely fair.
But also like it gets to me because it's such a societal thing. Really. It's that society has always kind of pushed this narrative on us of, especially when it comes to family, like your family is their family loyalty is expected. And like, it's that very strange, like, oh, that's who. Well, I can't figure out how to put this, but it's just weird that society has pushed that narrative on us, and that's not the case.
Like the specific narrative that like your family is all you've got in this world, and so you have to make sure that you talk to them and call your mom, call your grandmother. Well, if your mom and your grandmother give you like panic attacks, probably don't do that. It's not the best thing for you. Like, I think that like pushing that specific narrative of like, your family is what's the most important. I think that we're all kind of realizing that is just severely untrue.
It's also the narrative of like your family is always going to be the people that have your best interests at heart.
Because that is definitely not always true.
Which is the perfect transition into our last topic, the Free Britney movement, because that is one of the things that's happening to her is that her father is the one that is in charge of her. I was saying it wrong for a while. I know you love making fun of me for saying things like lapis lazuli.
Yes. What thing were you saying? I love it.
I was calling it a conservatorship for like the longest time.
Amazing. I love that shit. I really do. Like, I don't make fun of Nicole. I know I don't make fun of Nicole in like a mean way. I really do love when she tells me shit like that. It's so good. And now I'll never not see it. I'll think of it every time. Because I read
the word, I'd never, until it happened to her all those years ago. God, this has been a really long time that this has been happening to her. And it just makes me even angrier. But when this first happened, years and years, what was it, 2013, 2012?
It was, one second, I've got some stuff.
Yeah, I just want to remember the year.
October of 2008.
2008. Jesus Christ, it's even longer than I thought. Okay.
2008.
So this is 13 years now. 13 years ago when it happened to her. That was the first time I had ever heard of that type of situation arrangement. And when I read the article, I read the word as conservatorship.
Amazing.
I don't know why, but it's a conservatorship. That's how you say it?
Yes, conservatorship.
Conservatorship. Okay. Yes. So yeah. So Britney Spears' father is the one that's in charge. He is her conservator. And that is the rhetoric of your family is who knows what's best for you and is going to put your best interest at heart. Well, that's not what's fucking happening to her at all.
No. And so let me just give the high points real quick and then we can kind of discuss them. So essentially what's going on is that Britney was placed under conservatorship back in October of 2008. So after she
shaved her head, beat the car with the umbrella.
Yes. Rightfully so. Like, let me first state rightfully so. I would also have a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
So she shaved her head. She decided she wasn't going to be anyone's like fucking puppet anymore. She did like kind of freak out and just kind of shine a light on what happens when you tell people you have mental illnesses. She was immediately put on a 5150 involuntary psychiatric hold, which basically means that they made sure she was not going to harm herself. But really what that means is you're in jail. Like, it's very weird. If you ever if you're ever, there was a story not too long ago about a mom who was telling her doctor she had postpartum depression and they locked her up just like this because they assumed she was going to kill her kids. And she was like, I asked for help. Like, I'm sure Britney asked for help. I'm sure she did. And then they didn't give it to her. And then she shaved her fucking head and said, help now. And they were like, okay, we'll put you in jail. So it's essentially like you're chained up. Like, and it's not voluntary.
Let's be perfectly clear that the reasons behind her mental breakdown were all 100% fucking valid. The things that have been done to her since she was, when did she start? The first one, she was on Search for the Stars. She was like 8 or 9. She has been doing this. She has been in the spotlight in some form or another since the age of 8. And when she blew up at the age of 15, when Baby One More Time came out when she was 15, 16 years old. So since that time, up until her mental breakdown, everything that happened to her was the media was just clamoring for everything. They over-sexualized her. They ran her down to the point of just pure exhaustion from touring, from being in the studio, from events, appearances, every single fucking thing that the paparazzi hounding her, every single aspect of her life being put on display for everyone to consume as if that's all entertainment that we're allowed to have.
Like we're entitled to her.
When she had her breakdown, of course she fucking did.
Yeah. And if you've not noticed, a lot of other people who were in the public eye around that age have also had similar fucking breakdowns.
Or
so do
they're
you want to say,
yeah.
So do you want to say it's the society or the person? Because I have a theory for you.
Yeah.
I think it's the society.
There's a common denominator to all of the child star situations, and it's not them.
It's not the kids.
It's not their fault at all.
And if you want to, and like just to stress like how exactly hard they were working her, Britney had her mental breakdown. And she went to she was in like psychiatric care. And then one second, let me make sure I get the date right. So this all happened in 2008. And then like right after that, a month later, 1 month after this all happened, she guest starred on How I Met Your Mother. She opened the MTV,
that. Oh,
she
honey.
opened the MTV Video Music Awards. She filmed an entire documentary and she released an album.
A month after her breakdown.
I wonder why she did all that. Maybe it was because she suddenly had someone as a conservatorship. So once this happened, so basically this happened, she has her breakdown. The court placed her under conservatorship of her dad and an attorney named Andrew Wallet. Can we talk about that for a second? But so like she has her mental breakdown, gets put into a psychiatric facility against her will. Her father was assigned as her conservator, again, against her will. So now he has access to all of her money. And then suddenly 1 month after she has an entire goddamn mental breakdown in front of God and everybody, turns around and has her guest starring on TV shows, doing an entire album, a documentary, opening the MTV Music Video Awards. Have you lost your fucking mind? I don't think she did that of her own accord. I'm pretty sure now someone was fucking benefiting from her doing all of these appearances. I don't think that this was something that she wanted to fucking do.
Like the conservatorship means like, I remember reading like the definition, and I'm not going to, this is not verbatim, but it's something along the lines of the reason someone is put on a conservatorship is because they are literally incapable of making any decisions for themselves.
Yes, the actual definition is specifically in California. The California courts define a conservatorship as a situation where a judge appoints a responsible person or organization called the conservator to care for another adult called the conservatee who cannot care for himself or herself or manage his or her own finances. So they're saying that Britney is not in her right mind, cannot control her own finances. Back in 2008, can we all think for like 1 second about how much shit she's done since 2008? So she doesn't have the mental capacity to handle her own finances, but she does have the mental capacity to write an entire album, a documentary, host awards, do collaborations, and appear on other shows. But she doesn't have the mental wherewithal to be able to take care of her own finances. And apparently she still doesn't. And can we also talk about basically what they're doing to her? Back to just kind of explaining what's going on. Basically, what is happening is her father took control of her money, essentially, became her conservator.
Not just her money, her children.
Yes, her children.
Everything.
Everything, all of her assets. So like she cannot do anything without asking her father first. Like she has no access to her money or anything like that. So fast forward, this goes on for years and years and years. We'll go back to this, but she does tours. She has a
Vegas residency.
She has a residency in Vegas during all of this. She does all of these things that now we're finding out, because she recently gave a speech, we're finding out she didn't want to do any of that. She did it because she had no choice. They told her, you're doing this. You're doing this residency. And she didn't want to. What she wants to do is get married to her boyfriend and have another kid because she's in her 30s. And they told her no and put an IUD in her body. So
That's
refusing to let her have kids. So she did not want the IUD. They put it in there, and now she wants it out, and they won't take it out because her conservator is the one that gets to decide that. So backing up just a little bit, just so I can explain the story. There was a time when her father was not the conservator of it. So back in 2019, the co-conservator, Andrew Wallet, resigned, saying, quote, substantial detriment, irreparable harm, and immediate danger will result to the conservatee and her estate if the relief requested herein is not granted on an ex parte basis. Meanwhile, and then later, so this is September, so a little bit later, Jamie filed a request. So that's her father. Filed a request to temporarily relieve himself of his duties.
I remember that.
Britney's care manager, Jody Montgomery is her name, took over as the conservator. And then she was supposed to stay the conservator until August 2020. And then August 18th of 2020, Britney's lawyer. So this was when Britney kind of started to fight back because her father was trying to reinstate himself. He was trying to come back and basically now August 2020, he's trying to take back over the conservatorship, essentially sending Britney back to performing like a fucking circus animal when she doesn't want to. And so in 2020, so this is what one of the first Free Britney trials, the resurgence in 2020, she said that she was strongly opposed to having her father return as the conservator of her person. Instead, she said she wished for Montgomery to continue in that role as she had done for nearly a year, and that Mrs. Montgomery's appointment as conservator of her person to be made permanent. So she knew that she couldn't get out of the conservatorship. So she thought, okay, well, maybe I can just keep this other person. But her father was, of course, like, no. And so she also wished to maintain her right, quote, to seek termination of this conservatorship in the future. So she was hoping to keep Jamie as her Jody as her conservator. And so then she could petition to be out of it because she knows she can't do that if her dad is the conservator. Let me finish the whole story and then we can go back and talk about it. I want to make sure I can get the timeline out here.
Yeah.
So in addition, according to court filings, Britney was strongly opposed to Jamie continuing as sole conservator of her estate. But despite her literally saying to the court, my father is a predatory monster, they decided the temporary letters of conservatorship were extended through this past February. So Samuel has until September 2021 to put a stop to it. So there is still hope that this could be changed or fixed. But essentially what has happened is he took control of her money back in 2008. In 2019, he stepped back for a little while, having her carer basically take over the conservatorship, and she wants that to continue. So because her dad got sick, that's why he stepped back. So he couldn't be the one doing it, so he had to step back. And so she saw this as like, let me try to get free, and wants to keep this person as her conservator. And the courts are essentially saying, no, it has to be your father. We're giving him full control of you back. And so she can file for appeal, but that is kind of where we're at. And then Britney actually gave a statement.
For the first time. That was the first time she'd ever actually gotten to say in her own words.
Yes. Because for a long time, she was essentially told that she wasn't allowed to speak about this.
13 fucking years.
Yes.
No one has ever actually asked this woman what she thinks about any of this.
It's absolutely fucking wild.
Can we just 13 years and nobody has once allowed her to speak for her fucking self.
Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
Because they decided back in 2008 that she was not fit to do so.
But she's fit to work.
Exactly.
She, in her own word, I think one of the things that she said in her whole speech was like, I don't understand why the fuck this is like, I can't have control over my own self when but I employ this amount of people to do these things, and I work, and I do performances, I perform at events, I, record music, I do X, Y, and Z. Why can't I don't understand what you think I'm incapable of taking care of my own self and making my own decisions, but I'm capable of doing all that other stuff. That makes no fucking sense.
Like, essentially, yeah.
How can you? I want to know how. It boggles my mind that they forced her to get an IUD put in. How does that work?
Essentially, she cannot make any medical decisions for herself. So when you're under a conservatorship, you not only are your finances completely controlled, your medical decisions are completely controlled. That's for people, and not people like Britney Spears, people who legitimately cannot make decisions for themselves, people who have like severe mental handicaps, people who have had strokes, people who like physically cannot make these decisions. Not for someone who has a residency in Vegas.
So like, I'm just saying if that was me, like if somebody was trying to make me do something that I didn't want to do, y'all would have to fucking drug me to get me. I would go kicking and screaming.
Oh, that's another part of this. So she essentially was. Let's talk about that. So because they were in charge of her medical, like what was going on is Britney has a therapist. She has to see the therapist as part of her whole thing.
And she didn't get to choose this person, I'm assuming.
No. And the therapist talks to her conservator. So
isn't that a violation of
No, it's not, because he has full access to all of her medical records as her conservator. I'm telling you, it's for real. And so they would, if she said anything to them, the therapist would turn around and tell her dad, essentially. So she realized very quickly she could not talk to her therapist about anything real. So she would just sit there and pretend like she was good. But they also increased her medication a lot, and she had to take this medication. This is not something where it's like they increased it by like a little bit. It was more like they added like essentially sedatives to what she was taking to make her seem like she's out of it. So like you'll see interviews with her where she does seem a little fucked up. It's because she's on a ton of fucking brain medicine that essentially is being given to her by people who want her sedated so that she can look like this. Like
I'm picturing in my head, I'm picturing them saying to her, you're getting an IUD put in because we don't want you to have any more children. We don't think you're capable of having, or we like whatever the reasoning behind their decision for her to not be able to have any more children. So in my head, this is what I'm picturing. I'm picturing them saying, we're going to put an IUD in you. And Britney saying, no, I don't want that. And them saying, too bad, we're going to do that. And then they inject her with a tranquilizer and then bring her completely passed out, bring her into the doctor's office. All of this is happening while she's not even conscious, putting the IUD in. And then she wakes up the next day and she has an IUD in without actually having gone through that, like didn't know that had happened to her. And then they tell her, oh, we put the IUD in, you can't get it taken out. That in my head, that's what happened. Because if that shit happened to me, if someone fucking came in and said, you have to do this, and I said, well, I don't want to, you would have to fucking drag me kicking and screaming to do that thing. Or you would have to fucking drug me so that I literally couldn't resist you, because I would do everything I could to resist you. God damn it. It just makes me so angry. Can we also, was a meme I posted the other day was one, like the shit that's happening to Britney Spears. What about when Charlie Sheen went goddamn fucking off the rails crazy town?
Oh yeah. Mr. Tiger Blood got to do whatever the fuck he wanted with his money.
Like, where was the conservatorship for that?
Nowhere.
That seems like an individual that was not making good decisions at all.
No.
But was still allowed to be with his children and have children and do and have all the access to all their like.
Yeah.
What?
It's absolutely fucking wild. Specifically, so back to the medication thing, I did find it. I wanted to make sure I was right. So yeah, when she in her testimony, she said that she essentially told them that while performing, so when she was in her 5th season of the Las Vegas performances, she didn't want to do a new show, so she refused to perform. They were for like the 6th season. She was like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. I want to stop. They during the hearing, it says she said that a few days later. So she told them, hey, I don't want to do another season. I'm done. I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Her therapist sat her down the next day and said that she was skipping her medications and not cooperating in rehearsals. Even though that wasn't true, she was taking her medicine. She was cooperating in rehearsals, but basically sat her down and said that she wasn't cooperating because she had the day before just said that she didn't want to do a 6th season. So the next day after the sit down with her therapist, the therapist started giving Spears lithium as a new medication.
What?
He took me off my normal meds I've been on for 5 years, and lithium is a very, very strong and completely different medication compared to what I was used to. She said that she felt drunk. I couldn't even have a conversation with my mom or dad really about anything. So yeah, she was drugged. You were absolutely right. And if she didn't take her medication, she was deemed not cooperating and could be put back in a psychiatric institution.
Okay, that brings up a good question because you mentioned mom. Where the fuck is Lynn in all of this?
God, that is a good question. From what I understand, Lynn is also a dick. Her mom does not seem to care. And I'll say her fucking sister, Jamie Lynn Spears. Can we talk about Jamie Lynn for a second? Fuck Jamie Lynn Spears. Okay. She should have said some shit. She's been watching this all go down since 2008 and she hasn't had shit to say about it.
Until recently. She did. She put out I think it was about a week ago. She put out an entire story on Instagram. It's like 5 minutes long. It's like 4 or 5 separate videos basically defending herself. Because people were coming for her right after the court hearing, people were coming for her, rightfully so. And she was like, she basically did the thing where she was like, I shouldn't have to defend myself, but here am I. This is me defending myself. My relationship with my sister is nobody's business. I have done nothing but support my sister. I have told her from day one that she should have been seeking her own counsel, which she is now doing. I was the first person to tell her that. She said some shit about how she does not benefit from any of there is no monetary benefits that she gets from her sister. None of her shit has anything to do her sister's money, none of her sister's fame, none of that has anything to do with her. She's like, I've been working and doing my own thing since I was X years old. I do my thing. My sister does her thing.
So busy.
She was basically saying, don't come for me. You don't know what my relationship is with my sister. I support my sister 100%. I don't know why you're coming for me. That was her. You should watch it for yourself to see, because I can't remember exactly what she says. But I was just
what you're talking about, because I thought the same thing. I was like, I saw it and was like, okay.
I want to know
your excuse is I'm busy.
I want to know where was the conservatorship for Jamie Lynn Spears when she got pregnant and had a baby at fucking 15 years old.
Right. How can a fucking Britney shaved her head? Oh God.
But a 16-year-old girl is totally capable of making her own decisions and having children. That's cool.
Yeah.
16-year-olds are responsible enough. That's society in general, but the society that allows the television show Teen Moms to be a fucking phenomenon. I can't. I hate.
Sorry, I totally forgot the ending of this medication
Lynn,
story.
yeah.
No,
What's
sorry,
the end? There's
medication story.
more?
Oh yeah.
Fucking
So
Christ.
essentially, unless in case our listeners don't know, lithium is a very, very, very strong medication.
It's an antipsychotic.
Used to treat bipolar disorder. It's used off-label for depression sometimes, but generally it's not something you want to fuck around with.
It's literally an antipsychotic medication that the side effects of are detrimental.
Insane. Like dry mouth, nausea, rashes, drowsiness, unsteadiness while walking. Like you're pretty fucked up on it. It can also, if you take it for too long, cause kidney and thyroid problems. So basically, Britney went to her father and told her of the side effects that she experienced. And he did not seem concerned, she said. Instead, he told her that she didn't pass a psychiatric exam and would soon be sent to a rehabilitation program.
What does that mean?
This was a while ago. She literally was like, she went to her dad and said, hey, this new medicine's like fucking me up. I feel weird. And her dad went, weird, because we just gave you a psychiatric exam and you didn't pass. So you got to go to rehab again. I guess whatever. You're clearly crazy. This was when she was trying to get out of the sixth show in Vegas, the sixth season of Vegas. So they gave her this medicine that made her fucked up, gave her a psychiatric test that she obviously didn't pass because she was all fucked up, and then went, oh, but you didn't pass it. Guess you got to go to rehab. And so made it look like she was essentially fucked up. Like, and everyone's like, oh, the Free Britney movement is silly. Like,
listen,
it's a conspiracy. It's literally not. This is like one of the ones that's really, it's right here.
You know what scares me about this is that this is the type of movement that has brought people together that never interact or never agree on anything. Do you know who supports the Free Britney movement and has been giving like actual like speeches on his platform? Glenn Beck.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn Beck. One
of the most disgusting conservative mouthpieces out there in media has 100% thrown his weight behind Britney Spears. And like, is because all those like fucking crazy redneck conservatives, they're all about like, freedom, free speech and free, like people are trying to control you and all this stuff. So he's on board with Free Britney because he sees like this is the government and these are like these judges and the government are trying to take control over people's bodies. And this is just one way of, I'm like, so are you changing your mind about being pro-life then? That's what I want to ask him. But this just goes to show you how powerful of a movement this is, that it's not just some fucking run of the mill, like the moon landing type bullshit. Like this is real
conspiracy theory with no proof.
No, this is like, if this was happening to someone in your life, someone in your life personally, like if this was happening to your sister or your brother or your mom or your dad or even your friend, you would be freaking the fuck out because none of this is right. None of this makes any sense. And for the life of me, I can't figure out who the fuck are these judges that are allowing this shit to happen? Who the fuck are they? What court are they? What circuit in California are they even in? Because we need to like reevaluate who gets appointed there. And like also who wrote these laws that like allowed this to happen? And like, they need to be updated clearly to like, because there are clearly some major ass loopholes that these people are using to establish the fact that the conservatorship in general, because like, what are the parameters? Like they're just using this broad generalization of, oh, she did this one thing, so she doesn't have mental capacity enough to handle her life. So we have to take it over for her.
Yeah.
What is Can't you
refine
that a little bit?
But even very specifically, her conservatorship is split into two parts, one for her financial affairs and one for her as a person. So she is controlled via two things. Her father still controls her finances, but stepped down as her personal conservator in 2019 because of health reasons. And that's when Jody stepped in, who's an actual healthcare professional. And so she wants this person who's an actual professional to stay in charge and not have her dad come back as her personal conservator. And the judge went, nah. And so he's coming back.
Who the fuck is this person? And also, why can't she just stop the why is the conservatorship even still a thing at all? That shit should have ended the minute she went back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the second that she was earning money and able to make her own living, how is she not mentally capable of taking care of herself? That makes literally no fucking sense. I'm
100%. They controlled, when I say they controlled every aspect of her, they controlled the colors she could paint her cabinets. They controlled every part of her life because they felt like they could and had to. They had to keep her sedated, essentially, so they could keep taking her fucking money. Here's
another question that I have. That's what you just said. How much money does her dad give himself? Because that's what he's doing.
How much money?
Because that's essentially what he's doing. If he has control over her finances, it's his finances, technically. She's the one making the money, but he's the one that has control over it. So how much of that does he give to himself? And
how much money does Jamie Spears make from Britney? This says, documents reviewed by Forbes revealed that Jamie Spears has been paid at least $5 million since the start of the conservatorship in 2008. A year later, according to Forbes, Spears started to make monthly $16,000 payments to her father. Spears did. So even though she can't control her own finances, she started making payments to her father. I'm sure she did that. Those over 12 years have added up to $2.4 million. So about $7.4 million he's made off of her since 2008.
For doing what?
Nothing.
That's all. That's literally. Are her parents still together?
No.
They're divorced.
I think so.
Because I remember they split up. I just don't remember if they. And I think it was before the conservatorship stuff happened.
Yes, they divorced in 2002.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Okay.
The Grammy winner later called it the best thing that's ever happened to my family. Man, mood.
Right? Same. Where the fuck is she? Where the fuck is she? And where the fuck is her sister? Because I don't understand. Also, I know that her and K-Fed had their own drama between them, but I feel like he's kind of a sociopath if he isn't sticking up for his baby mama and all of this at all. He allowed this shit to happen too. He didn't speak up for her and say anything for her, speak out for her. Fuck him. Anybody that has played an active role in her.
He posted something recently that was pro Free Britney, which was very weird. I was like, these people jumping on the hashtag Free Britney thing when you were involved in her life, when all of this was going down.
That's what I'm saying. Say shit. Yeah, that's literally anyone.
That's why I'm anytime someone posts about shit like that, I'm like, the only person, fucking Iggy Azalea of all fucking people, of all people, hate that I'm saying this. Yeah. But she's the only one that has posted anything that I have deemed any kind of valid, because when she did that, she did a collaboration with Britney, a song. Honestly, can't remember it. But the reason why I can't remember it is because they refused to let her advertise it at all. would not let her promote it, would not do tours with her. What she wasn't allowed to speak to Britney. It was very weird. Before she did the thing with Britney, she had to have people come to her house, search her house, like top to bottom, had investigators search her house before she could even meet Britney. And then when she got there, she was like strip searched, like to make sure she wasn't giving Britney anything, which was weird. And she said after she did this with her and she like posted about it, she was like, this was fucking weird. Like, I had to have my house searched before I did a collaboration with Britney Spears. What the fuck does that mean? Like, it seemed like she was fucked up. It seemed like she couldn't make her own decisions. I'm concerned. Everyone called her a fucking hater. They were like, how dare you be mean to Britney Spears? This was back when it happened. This was years ago. So they were like, this Free Britney movement wasn't really a thing yet. And so she was like, hey, this is fucked up the way they're like treating her. And everyone was like, you're just jealous that you're blah, blah, blah. You're Azalea. She's Britney Spears. And she recently posted again and was like, okay, so when I said it, y'all called me a fucking hater. But like, now y'all want to talk about Free Britney? Yeah, Free Britney. Because people were calling out her collaborators and saying, how dare you like not say anything about this? And she was like,
I would have been the same way. I did. Excuse me.
Yeah,
and y'all like, dragged me for it.
Exactly. So she's the only one that I gave any props to, surprisingly.
That's what I'm saying. I know, right? Because
it's Iggy Azalea. She sucks herself. But like the fact that she was the only one to say anything and everyone called her a dick. And then now all this is happening.
From the minute she had her mental breakdown until all of the recent court shit has been coming out, anyone that had any sort of personal interactions with her that did or said absolutely fucking nothing, y'all are fucking complicit and you can go fuck yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like
100%.
Nope, you're not. That's not okay. Anybody, any single person that had any sort of personal interactions with her, be it you were employees of hers, you were people that had her in your clubs or your stadiums or your, whatever venues that you owned, that you hosted her shows, anybody that had them on their talk shows or interviewed her, nobody fucking said anything. And I guarantee you that y'all saw some toxic ass shit and didn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And only if you were forced to sign an NDA stating that you wouldn't say anything because you noticed the weird shit, you shouldn't have signed the fucking NDA and you should have ended the fucking interview and then told everybody that that was what happened. Like, y'all are all complicit. Like, I swear to God, all of them, every single one of them, you're all complicit. Fuck all of you.
It seems like her mom, I'm trying to find out, it looks like her mom, like, basically had her own bullshit going on, and then when she came back, she is now trying to be like, she wants to take over the conservatorship or at least have a stake in it or a say, but she seems to not be as shitty as her husband is. And like Britney and her mom have reconciled. They used to not talk for a long time. Britney and her mom have reconciled. Her mom tried to file to at least be like a co-conservator on it, and she was denied. So that's kind of what happened. So basically, her mom was trying to help. She didn't do it because she was like, want a piece of that. She did it because she was like, she wanted to help because she feels responsible for what happened to Britney in 2008, as she should. Because you're a big part of that, ma'am.
Here's my thing. Here's the thing. Why the fuck is the conservatorship even still a thing?
Yeah.
Like, I get that this is what's happening in the courts, that they're trying to make it so that this person is the one that's in charge of it instead of this person. And they said no, and they want to. No, forget all that.
It just shouldn't be a thing.
It should not even fucking be a fucking thing. What is anyone doing about it?
Her brother did make a statement that said something like, this is like a good thing for our family, which was like, ew.
Wait, she has a brother? Oh, yes. Yeah. An older brother, right?
Yes.
Okay, I remember him. Didn't he get married for like a hot minute like she did? Or I forget what that was about.
I don't remember.
There was like, because you never hear about him because he didn't do anything like Jamie Lynn did, where like that he didn't have it become an actor or a singer or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas like we know a lot about Jamie Lynn Spears because Zoe 101 and whatnot.
Yes.
but like the brother never did anything in the spotlight. But I feel like he did something that I knew she had a brother, and I can't remember what it was now. But like, why the fuck is this even a thing? Why is this allowed? Why are there laws that allow this to happen? Like, I get when it is happening for a good actual reason. Like, there are people that a conservatorship will benefit that are being, but like,
this is not that case. This is clearly predatory.
And if that's the case, if people are able to, you know, weasel their way into these situations and they're able to exploit the law of conservatorships in order to do shit like this to Britney, then we need to change the fucking law.
Yes.
Who the fuck is doing anything about this? Like,
that's the problem. Like, the whole internet's fucking trying. Welcome to the Free Britney movement. We've been going. It's why the problem is, like, they're really legally there. This is the way to do it, is for her to petition, and she's trying, and like that's the only way to end it. And it's like, it's fucked up. That shouldn't be the way it is, but it unfortunately is. And so like the path forward is that.
I got a message for California.
Okay.
Because this is where this is all happening, right?
Okay. Yes, we're going to put it up on the California billboard.
California court is where this is happening. Okay. Hey, California, do us a giant favor. Vote.
Honestly.
Vote these fucking DAs out. Vote these fucking judges out. Vote for congressmen and assemblymen and councilmen and all those, the little positions. The presidency and all the big positions are one thing, but it all comes down to your county, your district, your township, your all that stuff, where that's who is making these laws. That's who can change these laws. That is who is doing this to her, who is allowing, it is the judges and the lawyers that are fucking her over and not just saying, we're going to dismiss. The judge should be, whoever the judge presiding over this is God, that person is the one and only person who has it in their power to stop all of this. They're the ones that are allowing this to continue by not just saying, hey, this woman deserves to have body autonomy because she's a grown ass woman that is working and making money and employs people and has children. No one should be allowed to tell her what to do except for herself. I'm dismissing this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, 100%. She still has to have supervised visits with her kids.
I can't.
Like, she deserves to have a fucking life, dude. It's wild.
She's 39 years old, and I get the reason that she found someone that she wants to be with that genuinely loves her, that she loves. You know, they want to have a child, and it's getting to the point in women, biological women. The whole clock thing is not a fallacy. It's real. We do have biological clocks, and the longer you wait to have a child, the harder it is, and the more complications that can arise from it when you have children at a later age. Like, there are so many more complications that can affect you and the child.
Yeah.
So this woman just wants to have her life back.
She also, I'm sure, does not want to still be doing fucking Vegas residencies. I think she's done.
I don't think she wants to do anything. I think she just wants to simply sit back and live the life that she wants to live, free of anybody else's bullshit. Because she fucking deserves it, number one. And number two, because that is a right that all of us have as an American citizen. Like, her constitutional rights are being violated, and a fucking judge is allowing this. I can't. I'm dead, y'all. I'm fucking dead. I can't. It's wild.
Yeah.
So California, do yourselves a fucking favor. Vote.
Vote.
If you care at all about any of this, if this affects you and makes you feel any type of way that because it's wrong, do something about it, because you have that power, California, to vote people like that judge that's allowing this to go on out. Get the fuck rid of him. He needs to be fucking disbarred, or whatever the word is.
Mm-hmm.
He needs his license taken away. He needs his judge, like all of it. He needs to be barred from ever practicing law. Didn't they do that to the judge that sided with Brock Turner and only gave him 3 months?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure
he wasn't reelected at the very least. But
I'm pretty sure that he, after the Brock Turner case and after the overwhelming evidence that Brock Turner raped a girl, include like eyewitness testimony, a testimony from the victim, all that stuff, said that this kid's life would be ruined if he convicted him of it and only gave him 3 months of house arrest. I'm pretty sure that after that happened, that judge was just like, I think the word is disbarred. I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. I have a lot of lawyers in my family, but I don't know a whole lot about it. But I do know.
He was recalled.
Recalled, yeah. That whoever the judge is on this Britney Spears fucking bullshit, that's what needs to happen. In California, y'all have the power to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they also have, I gotta ask Cooper, my cousin who's a lawyer, I gotta ask them this. Like, I feel like Britney Spears herself should have has the right, or at least her counsel has the right to request a new judge on specific ground. You can cite all of these grounds for why you want a new judge assigned to your case. And there's all like, I've watched enough Law and Order to know that that's a thing. That is a thing that you can ask for a new judge. Like, she does have new counsel, right? That had nothing, that nobody, she was allowed to choose her new counsel and all that stuff.
Yes.
God. Y'all, this is just, okay.
Before we end, I'm going to take it up to like a lighter note real quick. And surprise tarot. We always love the surprise tarot. I felt like, I don't know why, I wanted to end this on slightly better note because I feel like we've been talking about a lot of shit today. And it's gotten a little heavy. Which is okay, but Evan says heavy, so that's how we say it. Heavy. Heffy. So I'm gonna try to make it a little lighter. Watch me like pull the Tower of the Death card or some shit.
But you said death can be a good thing because it means rebirth.
But like my cards like to be jokers.
Is this for a specific person, or is this just a kind of like a Madam if this speaks to you, then
yeah, sort of that. Also like learning about what it is. I don't know, if you want to think of a question, you are more than welcome to, but I'm just going on vibes.
Okay. So we're vibing.
A message. King of Swords. We have been talking about a lot of stuff today, and that makes sense. And generally, the King of Swords is a symbol of intellectual power and authority, has the courage and intellect to achieve all that he desires. When this card appears in a tarot reading, you are in your power, ruling from a place of authority and respect. You stand firm in your truth and express yourself with deep conviction. As a result, others pay attention to what you have to say, almost like we have a podcast.
Yo, can I just say that number one, that card speaks to Bo Burnham as a person and what he did with his special. Number two, that speaks to my hyperfixation station and owning my power and not letting others assert their will over me. And number three, sending those vibes to fucking Britney because she deserves to take her fucking power back.
Can we also, just one thing, it also says, often the King of Swords represents a professional advisor, such as a solicitor, attorney, financial advisor, or taxation consultant.
Every single time you do tarot, I get more and more freaked out because it's fucking real. Every time you do it, it freaks me out even more because your fucking witch shit is real.
It It literally says, the arrival of the King of Swords suggests that it may be worthwhile getting legal or financial advice if you are experiencing changes or particular circumstances that will require an expert opinion. You can be on the front foot by seeking help before they happen. That way, when they do roll through, you'll be ready to demand your rights and find the outcome that benefits you. You may also benefit from finding an advocate or a mentor who can provide you with strong advice.
Dear
This card was for Britney Spears.
Lord.
This is your dad. He sucks. This card's for Britney Spears. If you ever see this, your dad sucks. You have the power to get out of this situation.
And we are sending all of our love and support to you. Hashtag free Britney.
Hashtag free Britney. And we'll be putting links and stuff in the description for hotlines and things, because this has been a pretty heavy episode, but we appreciate everyone kind of sticking with us through it.
Yeah, we're recording this on the day before the American Independence Day. And I want to end this by saying, fuck you, America.
Anyway, happy 4th of July. That's the end. That's the end. I'm sorry. So thank you so much for sticking around. We appreciate you hanging out, and don't forget to dilly.
And don't forget to dally.